Hi everyone, and welcome to The Sleepy Scientist. I'm really happy you're here. Tonight, we're going to go on a calm and quiet trip to learn something amazing. So get comfy, take a deep breath, and let's enjoy this peaceful science story together. Before we start, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it for you right now? If you like relaxing science videos, don't forget to tap the like button. Now let's begin.
The night sky feels like a canvas painted with eternity. Above us, pinpricks of starlight shimmer softly, each one a beacon carrying whispers from ancient times. When we gaze upward, we are not simply looking at stars, but at a silent ocean, a vast sea of galaxies, each with billions of suns, each drifting in a slow, graceful ballet. Yet hidden beneath this beauty is a deeper mystery, one that hums quietly between the galaxies, guiding their dance, pushing them apart with an invisible hand. This unseen presence is what scientists call dark energy, though even the name is more poetry than explanation. It is not dark like a shadow, nor energy in the way we think of lightning or fire. It is something subtler, something woven into the very fabric of space itself. Imagine a balloon slowly inflating. The galaxies are like dots on its surface, moving farther away from one another, not because they themselves are rushing through space, but because space itself is stretching. This expansion was first discovered a century ago, when astronomers noticed that galaxies carried a kind of red-tinted signature in their light, as though they were receding. The farther away a galaxy was, the faster it seemed to drift. At first, this was wondrous enough. The universe was not static, but living, breathing, expanding. But in the late 20th century, a new surprise emerged. Instead of slowing down as gravity might have suggested, the universe was accelerating, the expansion speeding up. Something unseen was fueling this cosmic breath, something we could not touch, hear, or even imagine fully. This became dark energy, a phrase whispered into the halls of science, heavy with mystery. Let's drift deeper into this thought. Imagine standing on a shore and watching the tide slip away farther and farther. At first, you expect it to return, as tides always do. But what if the water never came back, if it only drew farther, faster, vanishing into some unreachable distance? Galaxies behave this way. They are not returning, they are not circling back. They are receding, slipping beyond reach as though carried by an invisible tide. Some galaxies that shine now will one day fade from our sight entirely, not because their light has gone out, but because the universe will have stretched so much that their glow will never reach us again. This is the quiet heartbreak of dark energy. It is not only pushing galaxies away, it is pushing them beyond the horizon of forever. Scientists have given dark energy a place in their equations, a kind of mathematical ghost called the cosmological constant. This constant is like a background hum in the universe, steady and unyielding, as though woven into the very threads of space and time. Einstein himself once considered it, then cast it aside. Then science rediscovered it when the universe revealed its accelerating expansion. And yet, even with this name and number, dark energy remains a riddle. We do not know what it is, only what it does. It stretches, it pushes, it drives galaxies apart in a quiet, ceaseless flow. To speak of it is to speak of absence, of something that cannot be seen but only felt in the motion of the cosmos. Now imagine yourself adrift in this expanding sea. The galaxies around you are lanterns glowing on distant waves. At first, they seem steady, companions in the great ocean of night. But as time passes, the lanterns slip away, their light growing dimmer, until one day only the closest remain. Billions of years from now, an observer looking into the night might see a sky emptied of distant galaxies, only the stars of their own home shining above. The universe would seem smaller to them, though it is in truth immeasurably larger. Dark energy would have stretched their world so wide that other galaxies would no longer be visible. They would live in a cosmic solitude, unaware of the vast company that once filled the heavens. In this way, dark energy is not only a scientific puzzle, but also a mirror of longing. It reminds us that the universe is not bound to us, that beauty slips away even as we reach for it. Each galaxy we see tonight may be one of the last we can glimpse before it drifts beyond the reach of light. There is a softness to this truth, a quiet melancholy. Yet there is also wonder. to know that we are living in a privileged time when the cosmos is still open, still generous with its light, still gifting us glimpses of distant spirals and starry rivers. One day, much of this will be hidden, but tonight it is ours to see. The breath of the universe continues, steady and unseen. Dark energy does not roar or thunder, it whispers. It hums between the galaxies, patient as time itself. We cannot hold it, cannot bottle it, cannot slow its hand. But we can wonder at it, marvel at its touch, and weave it into our stories. For in the end, the universe is not only a place of stars and galaxies, but also of mysteries that soften us, reminding us of our smallness and our year. Ning, dark energy, is one such mystery, stretching space, stretching thought, stretching the very edges of our imagination. And so the silent breath between the stars continues, unseen but unceasing. Galaxies drift outward like leaves on a widening pond. The night sky we know is only a momentary vision, a fleeting portrait in the long story of time. Dark energy, gentle and relentless, writes this story with invisible ink. And as we gaze upward, we read only the lines it has already written, never the ones still to come. Yet even in this uncertainty, there is comfort, for the universe continues, the stars continue, and in their quiet retreat, they leave us with wonder enough to last lifetimes. The universe is like a quiet fabric stretched across infinity, and dark energy is the hand that pulls gently, almost imperceptibly, until the weave loosens and the threads separate. To sit beneath the night sky is to sit beneath this constant, invisible work. Galaxies are not racing away like birds fleeing from a tree. They are more like beads sewn into a cloth that is itself expanding, each bead held in place while the fabric stretches between them. This is why the farther galaxies appear to move away more quickly, because there is more fabric between us, more space for the stretching to act upon. It is as though we are adrift in an endless tapestry, and with each passing moment, the tapestry grows wider, thinner, and more silent. Scientists measure this expansion with delicate care. They watch the flickering light of distant stars that end in supernovae, stars that explode with a brilliance brighter than galaxies themselves. These cosmic lighthouses, called Type Ia supernovae, shine with predictable strength, like candles placed across the dark. By comparing their apparent brightness with their true power, astronomers learned how far away they must be. And when they traced this light, they found the universe was not merely expanding, it was accelerating. It was as though the candle flames were being carried away on an unseen current, a river of space flowing faster the farther it stretched. The discovery was humbling, for it suggested a universe where distance itself was quickening, a cosmos where tomorrow would be larger than today, not by a little, but by an ever-increasing measure. Now imagine the emotional weight of this, to realize that the stars we see tonight are part of a grand dispersal, slipping quietly away. It is as if we are sitting in a great hall filled with music, only to realize the instruments are drifting apart, each note fading as the players move farther across the room. The harmony of galaxies is real, but it is fleeting in its accessibility. One day, future observers will not hear the distant symphony at all. Their night sky will be stripped of its galaxies, leaving only the nearby cluster of stars. They will live in a diminished echo of the cosmos, unable to trace the fullness of its story. For us, though, the hall is still filled with song, and dark energy is the invisible wind guiding the notes into distance. Dark energy's nature remains elusive. Some believe it is a property of space itself, as though emptiness contains a hidden pressure, a gentle insistence to expand. Others imagine it as a new field, a presence filling the universe that we cannot detect directly but whose influence is written in cosmic acceleration. The truth may be stranger still, lying beyond what we can yet imagine. What matters is its effect. It overwhelms gravity at the largest scales. Where gravity binds stars into galaxies and galaxies into clusters, dark energy works in the opposite direction, prying clusters apart, stretching the web of the universe wider and thinner. On small scales, gravity still rules, keeping our planet near the sun, holding the Milky Way together. But on cosmic scales, dark energy writes the larger story, painting separation across billions of light years. Let us drift for a moment into a metaphor. Imagine holding sand in your hands. At first it feels firm, grains nestled together by your gentle pressure. But slowly, if you relax, the grains slip apart, falling softly until only emptiness remains between your fingers. The universe feels like this. Galaxies, bound once closely in the young universe, are slipping away as the unseen force relaxes the grip of gravity. The grains are not gone, they are simply farther apart, scattered across a wider shore. And we, standing in the middle of this cosmic beach, can only watch as they spread endlessly into distance. The deeper we explore, the more poetic the science becomes. Consider the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang still shimmering across all of space. This radiation carries the first whispers of the universe, frozen when the cosmos was just 380,000 years old. In its delicate patterns, scientists read the balance between matter, radiation, and the mysterious dark energy. It is like an ancient lullaby carrying the proportions of the universe in its gentle hum. From it, we know that dark energy accounts for nearly 70% of everything that exists, not in matter or light, but in this invisible essence of expansion. In a universe filled with stars, planets, and galaxies, it is humbling to realize that most of existence is something we cannot see or touch, something that hides in the spaces between. Now imagine standing on a vast meadow at dusk. The air is still, the grass whispering softly with the wind. Beyond the horizon, the world continues unseen, but you know it is there. Dark energy feels like this meadow horizon, unseen but undeniable, stretching the field beyond your view. You cannot touch it, yet it shapes the entire landscape of the cosmos. And as the galaxies drift apart, the meadow widens into silence, each flower farther from the next, each whisper softer, until the field feels endless, lonely, and yet filled with quiet beauty. The mystery is not merely scientific, it is human. To live in a universe shaped by dark energy is to live in a universe where impermanence is written into the stars themselves. Nothing remains as it is. Distances stretch, horizons fade, and what is near today may be unreachable tomorrow. This truth mirrors our lives in soft ways. Just as galaxies drift, so do moments, relationships, and memories. We hold them, we cherish them, and then, like light stretching across an expanding sky, they slip into distance. Dark energy is the cosmos, gentle reminder of change, of letting go, of finding beauty even in separation. And yet within this expansion, there is also connection. The very fact that we can study distant galaxies, that their light has crossed billions of years to reach us, is a miracle of timing. We are here now when the sky is still full, when the galaxies are still visible, when the story of expansion is still being written across our telescopes. We live in a universe generous with its wonders, even as it prepares to fold them into distance. This awareness turns science into poetry, reminding us that knowledge is not only about understanding, but also about gratitude, about savoring the fleeting gift of cosmic vision. So the galaxies drift, and the silent hand of dark energy continues its work. It does not pause, it does not falter, it does not grow weary. The expansion is a lullaby sung across eternity, slow and patient. And as we listen, we cannot help but feel a quiet awe, for in the invisible hum between the stars, we hear not only the universe's mystery, but also its gentleness, its patience, and its enduring song. The sky above us is not a still picture, but a moving story, and dark energy is the quiet hand turning the pages. In this final stretch of our reflection, let us lean closer to the whispers of the universe and wonder about what lies ahead. The galaxies drift, the distances grow, and the fabric of space stretches thinner with each passing moment. It is a slow process, softer than any heartbeat, quieter than a falling leaf, and yet, given enough time, it reshapes the destiny of all things. The stars we see tonight will remain, but the galaxies beyond will drift farther, until their light is too faint, too stretched, too distant to ever reach us again. What will remain is a smaller island of visibility, our own cosmic neighborhood, floating in an ocean that becomes darker and emptier with age. Scientists often ask, will this expansion go on forever? The mathematics of dark energy suggest that it will, unless some deeper truth reveals itself. If the acceleration continues endlessly, then the galaxies beyond our local group will vanish from view. The night sky will change, not in our lifetimes, nor in thousands of generations, but across billions of years. There will come a time when the Milky Way and its close companions are all that remains visible. The grand rivers of galaxies that now stretch across telescopes will be gone, hidden not by distance alone, but by the nature of space itself. The universe will not collapse back inward. It will expand beyond sight, leaving each island of galaxies adrift, separated forever by the breath of dark energy. There is an idea called the cosmic horizon, which feels almost like poetry. Imagine standing on the shore of a vast ocean. You can see only as far as the horizon, the curve of the earth hiding the rest from view. Beyond that line, the sea continues, but it is lost to your eyes. The universe has such a horizon too. As space expands, that horizon shifts, pulling more and more galaxies beyond it. Their light, once able to reach us, is now carried away by the stretching of space itself, so that no matter how long we wait, it will never arrive. It is not that those galaxies cease to exist. They are simply beyond reach, hidden forever in the widening folds of space. To think of this is both humbling and haunting, as though the universe itself is slowly closing a book that we had only just begun to read. The future of the cosmos may be quiet, but it is not empty. Stars will continue to shine, to be born and to die for countless generations. Within our own galaxy, suns will rise and set, planets will circle, and life, in whatever forms it may take, will gaze into the night and find comfort in its beauty. Dark energy does not erase existence. It only softens its connections, stretches them until they are out of sight. The great cosmic web remains, but its threads grow taut, stretched until each knot is alone. This solitude is not without its beauty. In the vast silence, the stars of the Milky Way will glow brighter, the constellations more enduring, the familiar sky more intimate. The universe will feel smaller, though it is larger than ever, a paradox only dark energy could create. Now let us linger in metaphor. Think of a lantern floating down a river at night. At first you can see its warm glow clearly, its flame steady, its reflection dancing on the water. But as it drifts farther, the glow dims, the reflection fades, until at last it is swallowed by distance. The lantern has not gone out. It is simply beyond your vision. So it is with galaxies. Their light continues, their stars still burn, but for us they drift beyond reach. Dark energy is the river carrying them away, slow and ceaseless, and we are left standing on the shore, watching the glow fade into forever. And yet in this fading there is a lesson. To live in a universe shaped by dark energy is to live in a universe where beauty is fleeting but profound. Each night sky is a gift, a glimpse into a cosmos that will not always look the same. We are witnesses in a privileged moment when the heavens are still filled with galaxies, when the distant spirals still shine in our telescopes, when the story is still being told across a sky that has not yet dimmed. This knowledge transforms the act of stargazing into something sacred. To look at the sky is to touch eternity, to see across billions of years, to catch the light of galaxies before they slip away. It is to live not only in space, but in time, and to cherish the fleeting company of distant worlds. The science of dark energy does not end in equations. It continues in our hearts, in the way we carry its meaning into our lives. Expansion is not only a cosmic truth, it is a gentle mirror of our own existence. We grow, we change, we drift from moments and people we once held close. Life, like the universe, is always expanding, carrying us into new distances. Dark energy reminds us that separation is not loss, but transformation, that even as things move beyond reach, they remain part of the greater whole. The galaxies do not vanish, they only become hidden. The same is true of memories, of love, of the quiet moments we carry within us. They may drift, but they are never gone. So let us close this first story with softness. The silent breath between the stars continues, carrying galaxies into unreachable horizons, writing the universe's future with invisible ink. We may not know what dark energy truly is. We may not hold it, may not name it, may not tame it, but we can listen to its whisper, feel its presence in the widening sky, and honor its mystery with wonder. The universe expands, and in its expansion we find both solitude and beauty, both impermanence and awe. To look upward is to hear the lullaby of dark energy, gentle, eternal, and unyielding. And as we drift into sleep beneath the stars, we can take comfort in knowing that the story continues, that the breath of the cosmos will carry on, softly and forever, whether or not we are here to see it. The universe is like a river without banks, flowing endlessly into the distance. Along its current drift, the galaxies, vast islands of stars, gas, and dust, each one a glowing city in the dark. To the naked eye, the night sky seems sprinkled with only a few scattered points of light, but through the eyes of telescopes, the truth unfurls. The heavens are crowded with galaxies, each gliding silently through the expanding ocean of space. These galaxies are not fixed in place. They are carried by the stretching of the cosmos itself, drifting as if caught in a current too wide to see. This is why astronomers often speak of the universe as a river, because the galaxies, like boats on its surface, are always in motion, always being swept along by a tide that has no shore. When we gaze at the Milky Way arcing across the sky, we see only our home, one galaxy among billions. Beyond it, the universe spreads out like a tapestry of glowing threads, each galaxy connected to another by the faint pull of gravity. For a long time, scientists believed that gravity would one day slow the flow of this cosmic river. They thought the galaxies, though drifting apart, might eventually slow, stop, and perhaps fall back together. But in the last decades of the 20th century, this expectation was overturned. Observations revealed that not only were the galaxies moving apart, they were doing so faster and faster, as though some unseen current were pushing them outward. The cosmic river was not calming, it was quickening. This current is what we call dark energy, though the name is less an explanation than a sigh of wonder. It is not dark like the night, nor energy like fire or wind. It is something stranger, woven into the very structure of space. It is a pressure, a stretching, a quiet push that grows stronger with distance. The farther a galaxy lies from us, the faster it drifts, as if the current flows faster near the edges. This creates a future where rivers of galaxies, once near enough to study and admire, will drift beyond the horizon of sight, leaving us alone with only our nearest companions. Already, the light we see from some galaxies began its journey billions of years ago, and by the time we observe it, those galaxies have already slipped farther away, riding the accelerating flow of the cosmic river. To imagine this, picture yourself standing on a bridge over a wide, slow-moving river. The boats closest to you drift gently, almost still, but those farther away seem to slip past more quickly, as if the water carries them with greater speed. Beyond the farthest bend, the boats disappear, not because they vanish, but because the river has carried them beyond your sight. So it is with galaxies. They do not race through space, they are carried by it. The universe itself stretches, and the galaxies are its passengers, their paths written not by engines or sails, but by the flow of space-time itself. This gentle but unrelenting drift carries with it both beauty and melancholy. On one hand, it speaks of a universe alive with motion, a grand ballet of galaxies forever dancing apart. On the other, it whispers of separation, of the slow fading of distant wonders beyond our reach. One day, far in the future, the rivers of galaxies will flow so far from one another that they will no longer share their light. Their stories will be hidden, their stars unseen, their presence only a memory written in ancient starlight. To live now, in this moment, is to witness a sky still full of companions, to look out and see the rivers of galaxies before they vanish beyond the bend of time. The science of this expansion is precise, yet its implications feel like poetry. Astronomers measure the redshift of galaxies, the stretching of their light into longer, redder waves as space itself expands. This redshift is the language of the river, a quiet code that tells us how quickly each galaxy is drifting. The greater the redshift, the faster the drift. In this way, the cosmos speaks to us, not in words, but in light stretched across billions of years. Each galaxy tells its story in this softened glow, its distance and motion carried gently in every photon that reaches our eyes. Let us pause and imagine. billions of years from now, if there are eyes to see, the rivers of galaxies will no longer fill the night. The great clusters and superclusters will have drifted beyond the cosmic horizon, leaving behind only a few islands of light. Future astronomers may never know that the universe was once so rich, so full, so alive with distant companions. They will live in a smaller cosmos, isolated not by walls but by the very expansion of space. For us, though, the rivers still shine. The current still carries their glow into our telescopes, and we are able to trace their paths across the darkness, to see their forms, to know their beauty, even as they slip away. There is comfort in this awareness, even as there is sorrow. To know that galaxies drift is to know that change is part of the universe's very nature. Nothing is fixed, nothing is eternal in its place. And yet in this impermanence there is also wonder. For though galaxies move beyond reach, their light remains with us, a gift carried across unimaginable distances and times. Every starlit night is filled with messages from galaxies already slipping away, their presence written in beams of light that traveled across billions of years to reach our small world. They may be carried beyond our horizon, but their whispers remain, faint and eternal, shimmering in the rivers of the night sky. The rivers of galaxies are not only drifting apart, they are woven into a vast structure that resembles a cosmic web. Imagine a spider's web glistening with dew, each droplet a galaxy cluster, each thread a filament of matter stretching across unfathomable distances. Through telescopes and maps of the universe, we can see this grand design, clusters linked to clusters, filaments arching across the cosmos, voids stretching between them like great empty lakes. It is breathtaking to realize that galaxies do not wander randomly. They are arranged in this immense lattice, a structure so large that its scale is almost beyond comprehension. Yet even this web, intricate and beautiful, is being stretched by the unseen hand of dark energy, its threads pulled wide. Dare its clusters carried farther from one another, until the river currents scatter even the strongest bonds. To understand this, scientists turn to delicate measurements of light. They study the way galaxies cluster, the faint ripples in the distribution of matter known as baryon acoustic oscillations. These ripples, echoes of sound waves from the early universe, have become rulers by which we measure the cosmic flow. They reveal not only how galaxies are arranged, but also how quickly the universe is expanding. With each new survey, each map drawn across billions of light years, the same truth emerges. The rivers are widening and dark energy is the current. It is as if the universe has written its history into patterns of light, and by reading them, we glimpse both its past and its destiny. Drifting deeper into metaphor, imagine yourself walking along a riverbank at dusk. The water flows quietly, carrying reflections of trees, clouds, and stars. At first, the river seems gentle, but as you watch, you realize its current is steady, unstoppable, carrying everything toward a horizon you cannot see. The galaxies are like these reflections, shimmering on the surface, carried slowly but surely by the current of expansion. You cannot reach them, cannot hold them still, cannot reverse the flow. All you can do is marvel, knowing that the river moves as it must, shaping the landscape with patience beyond measure. There is a soft sadness in this knowledge. The galaxies that now fill our night will not always remain visible. Already their light takes billions of years to reach us, a journey so long that we see them not as they are, but as they were, ancient portraits painted in photons. With each passing eon, more of these portraits will slip beyond the cosmic horizon, their light stretched into invisibility. Future skies will grow emptier, the rivers of galaxies flowing away until only our local cluster remains. For those who come after, the universe may appear smaller, lonelier, stripped of its richness. They may never know that once the cosmos was filled with endless companions, drifting together in a vast, interconnected sea. And yet within this sorrow lies a profound beauty. We living now are witnesses to a universe still full, still generous with its light. We can map the rivers, trace their currents, study their patterns, and know that we are part of something immeasurably vast. To see galaxies is to see history, to see light that began its journey when Earth itself was young, long before eyes had opened to receive it. Each photon carries the memory of a star, a galaxy, a moment in cosmic time delivered to us like a message in a bottle drifting across the ocean of space. The rivers may be widening, but their messages still arrive, still reach us, still remind us that we are part of the flow. Dark energy remains the quiet mystery behind this widening. Some scientists imagine it as the cosmological constant, a steady pressure built into the fabric of space. Others propose dynamic fields, something like invisible tides that change with time. Still others wonder if our understanding of gravity itself needs to be rewritten, that perhaps the laws we know are only local truths, not universal. These ideas swirl like eddies in the river of thought, each offering glimpses of possibility, none yet able to explain the whole. For now, we can only measure the flow, trace its currents, and accept that the river carries us forward into an unknown future. Think again of rivers on Earth. They are not only paths of water, they are lifelines, shaping valleys, feeding forests, guiding migrations. In the same way, the cosmic rivers of galaxies shape the history of the universe. Where galaxies cluster, stars form, planets circle, and perhaps life emerges. Where voids open, silence reigns, vast expanses of emptiness that stretch for hundreds of millions of light years. These patterns are the geography of the cosmos, and dark energy is the unseen wind reshaping it, stretching the valleys, widening the voids, scattering the clusters. To study the universe is to study a landscape in motion, a geography drawn not in mountains and rivers, but in galaxies and light. As we drift with these thoughts, there is a gentle realization. Even as galaxies move away, their light continues to touch us. We live bathed in ancient photons, warmed by messages from stars long gone, guided by the glow of galaxies that have already slipped farther down the river. The universe may be stretching, but it also gives. It gives us time, light, wonder, and the ability to see across unimaginable distances. The rivers carry galaxies away, but they also carry their whispers to us, and in those whispers we find both knowledge and solace. So the rivers flow, endless and unyielding, carrying galaxies into the future. We cannot dam them, cannot reverse their course, but we can stand upon the banks, watching with awe, listening to the song of light, and know that we are witnesses to a fleeting chapter in the cosmos. For though the galaxies will drift beyond sight, tonight they are still here, shimmering in the darkness, their reflections rippling across the river of the universe. And in their glow, we are reminded that even in impermanence, there is beauty enough to last forever. The rivers of galaxies continue their drift, and as they flow into the distance, we are left to wonder what the end of this journey might be. If the expansion continues forever, then the cosmos will become a place of increasing solitude. The great filaments that now lace across space will thin and unravel, each cluster carried beyond the reach of its neighbors. The bonds of gravity, so strong in the early universe, will be stretched until they can hold no more. What will remain is a quiet archipelago of galaxies, each cluster an island adrift in the widening sea, cut off from all others by the ceaseless tide of dark energy. For beings who live in that distant time, the universe will seem smaller, even as it grows larger beyond their horizon. They will see only their own cluster, their own stars, and perhaps they will never know that countless others once shimmered nearby. To imagine this future is to feel both awe and tenderness. The rivers of galaxies remind us that everything is in motion, that nothing remains fixed, not even the stars themselves. Just as rivers on Earth carve valleys, shift banks, and change landscapes, so too does the cosmic river sculpt the fate of the universe. Galaxies are not only passengers but storytellers, each one carrying the tale of its stars, its planets, and perhaps its life. As they drift, they leave behind messages of light, fragments of their story that we capture with our telescopes. To us, the rivers are not silent. They sing in the language of photons, in the glow of ancient starlight, in the red-shifted hum that carries their distance and speed. We listen and we learn, even as the galaxies slip farther away. This expansion, driven by dark energy, paints the universe with both separation and grace. It tells us that the cosmos is dynamic, restless, forever changing. The rivers of galaxies are not bound by the desire to remain near, they are carried by the fabric of space itself. And yet their drift is not violent, it is not a storm or a flood. It is a slow, patient widening, as though the universe itself is breathing out, releasing what was once close into a wider embrace. This gentleness is part of the wonder. The galaxies do not flee in fear. They drift in calm inevitability, each carried by the same current, each part of the same expanding whole. Now imagine yourself sitting at the edge of a wide river on Earth. The current is slow, steady, carrying leaves and twigs downstream. You dip your hand into the water and feel the flow, knowing it has been moving long before you arrived and will continue long after. The galaxies are like these leaves, carried on a current that began billions of years ago in the birth of the universe. We are the quiet observers on the shore, watching their drift, knowing that we are part of the same current, carried in ways we cannot always see. The river connects us, even as it separates. It reminds us that we belong to something vast, something eternal in its unfolding. For the galaxies themselves, the future will also change. Stars will continue to form, to burn, to die. Supernovae will light the heavens, black holes will merge, and new wonders will unfold. But as the rivers widen, each galaxy will grow more isolated. Exchanges of material between clusters will cease, and the grand structures of the cosmic web will dissolve into solitude. The river will not dry up, but it will flow into an ocean so wide that each droplet becomes alone. This vision may feel lonely, but it also carries a quiet dignity. The universe does not end in fire or collapse, but in openness, in separation, in the gentle fading of shared light. And yet in this solitude there will still be beauty. The night skies of the far future will still sparkle with stars, constellations will still form, planets will still circle, and perhaps life will still gaze upward with wonder. They may not see the rivers of galaxies, but they will see the glow of their own stars, their own Milky Way, their own home in the vastness. For them, the sky will still be a mystery, still a source of awe, still filled with stories waiting to be told. The absence of distant galaxies will not erase the wonder of the universe. It will only shift its focus, turning eyes inward to the closer lights, to the intimacy of their own celestial neighborhood. In this way, the rivers of galaxies are a lesson in impermanence. They teach us that beauty does not last forever, but that does not lessen its value. If anything, it deepens it. To look at a galaxy now, knowing that one day it will drift beyond reach, is to treasure the moment more fully. Each observation becomes a gift. A reminder that we live in a time when the rivers are still visible, still near enough to be seen. This fleetingness makes the act of looking up into the night sky not only an act of science, but also an act of gratitude, a way of saying thank you to the cosmos for letting us witness its rivers while they are still here. So the story of the rivers of galaxies closes softly, not with urgency but with reflection. The current of dark energy continues, carrying galaxies outward, shaping the future with invisible hands. We cannot stop it, cannot slow it, cannot hold the galaxies near. But we can watch, we can listen, we can marvel. The rivers flow, and in their flow we find poetry, a cosmic lullaby reminding us of both our smallness and our belonging. The galaxies drift apart, but their light continues to reach us. Their whispers continue to sing, and in that song we find wonder enough to last beyond the fading of rivers, beyond the widening of space, into forever. The invisible thread of expansion is one of the quietest mysteries in the cosmos. It is not a rope we can touch, nor a string we can see, yet it binds the galaxies in their drifting, carrying them apart in a motion as patient as eternity itself. The universe is not a static stage with stars and galaxies moving upon it. Instead, the stage itself is stretching, the fabric beneath everything widening with time. This is the invisible thread, the expansion of space, an unseen presence that works silently yet powerfully, shaping the destiny of the cosmos. We do not feel it here in our daily lives, for the thread is subtle on small scales. The Earth circles the Sun unchanged, the Milky Way holds together with gravity's embrace. But on the largest scales, across billions of light years, the thread tugs galaxies outward, weaving a story of separation that no force seems able to undo. Astronomers discovered this invisible expansion by studying the faint light of distant galaxies. Light stretches as space itself stretches, its waves pulled longer, redder, softer. This redshift is the whisper of the thread, the signature of expansion written into every photon that reaches us. The farther a galaxy lies, the greater its redshift, as though the thread pulls more tightly the farther it stretches. This pattern was first revealed nearly a century ago, when Edwin Hubble traced the motions of galaxies and realized that the universe was not still but expanding. Since then, the measurements have grown more precise, each one confirming the same truth: space is stretching, and the galaxies are its passengers. At first, scientists thought this expansion might slow over time, as though gravity, the great gatherer, would pull back against the thread, slowing its stretch. Perhaps the universe would expand, pause, and then collapse back into itself, a cycle of breathing in and breathing out. But the late 20th century brought a deeper surprise. Observations of distant supernovae revealed not slowing but acceleration. The invisible thread was not weakening, it was tightening, pulling faster, stretching space more quickly as time passed. Something was feeding this expansion, an unknown force we now call dark energy. It is as though the thread itself is alive, pulling more eagerly as the universe grows older. To imagine this, think of a loom stretched with threads. At first the tension is gentle, the threads barely taut, but as the weaver pulls, the tension grows, the fabric stretches tighter, and the spaces between the threads widen. The galaxies are the patterns woven into this loom, and dark energy is the weaver's unseen hand, pulling the threads with quiet insistence. Each galaxy drifts farther from the next, not because it is moving, but because the loom itself is stretching. This image captures the essence of expansion, not motion through space, but motion of space itself, carrying galaxies as though they were beads on widening strings. The invisible thread is subtle yet vast. On Earth, in the solar system, even within galaxies, its pull is too weak to notice. Gravity binds stars together, planets to suns, moons to planets, holding them close against the thread's stretch. But beyond the boundaries of galaxies, across the darkness that separates one from another, the thread reveals its strength. Their gravity weakens and the expansion dominates, carrying clusters apart like drifting clouds on a widening sky. The balance between these two forces, gravity pulling inward, dark energy pulling outward, shapes the architecture of the universe. Where matter gathers, galaxies form, clusters grow, and stars ignite. Where dark energy dominates, space expands, distances widen, and silence grows. Consider the metaphor of a heartbeat. In the womb of the cosmos, the Big Bang was the first pulse, sending matter and light outward in every direction. For billions of years, gravity and expansion played against each other, one pulling together, the other pulling apart. But now the invisible thread has grown stronger, its pulse more insistent, guiding the rhythm of the universe. The galaxies are the blood carried through this great heart, circulating endlessly, yet drifting farther with each beat. We are part of this circulation, part of the flow, part of the widening life of the cosmos. When we look into the night sky, we are seeing the thread's handiwork. The galaxies scattered across the dark are not frozen in place, but mid-drift, each one receding quietly into the depths. Their light carries the memory of the thread, stretched into red, softened into whispers of motion. To study their light is to trace the thread itself, to feel its invisible presence through the messages it leaves behind. Every photon we capture is a strand in this cosmic fabric, a fragment of the thread woven across time and space. There is a softness to this truth, though it speaks of separation. The invisible thread does not tear or break, it stretches gently, steadily, endlessly. It is the universe breathing out, the fabric unfolding, the horizon widening. To live in this time is to live in a universe where the thread is still visible in the rivers of galaxies, still measurable in the light of distant stars, still traceable in the patterns of the cosmic web. One day in the far future, the thread will carry galaxies beyond sight, their light stretched into invisibility. But tonight, we still see them, still hold them in our telescopes, still witness the wonder of their drift. The invisible thread of expansion is not only a scientific mystery, it is a poetic reminder that change is woven into the fabric of existence. Just as galaxies drift apart, so too do moments, relationships, and lives. The thread that stretches space also stretches time, reminding us that nothing remains fixed. Yet in this impermanence lies beauty, for the act of seeing, of knowing, of marveling is made more precious by its fleetingness. The galaxies will drift, but their light remains with us. The universe will expand, but our wonder expands with it. And so the invisible thread continues, weaving its story silently, endlessly across the dark. The invisible thread of expansion stretches not only through space, but also through time, weaving the story of the cosmos from its earliest moments to its distant future. In the beginning, this thread was delicate, fragile, barely distinguishable from the fire and chaos of the newborn universe. The Big Bang was not an explosion in space, but the expansion of space itself, the first unfurling of the thread. As the cosmos cooled, the thread continued its patient work, carrying galaxies apart as stars and planets were born in its wake. To look at the sky today is to see that ancient unfolding still in motion, the loom of the universe still pulling, the fabric still widening. The patterns of this thread are preserved in the cosmic microwave background, the faint afterglow of the Big Bang. This ancient light is a map of the universe as it was nearly 14 billion years ago, when the cosmos was still young, when atoms first formed and photons began their long journey. Embedded in its faint ripples are the fingerprints of expansion, the soft vibrations of a universe growing larger. Scientists read these ripples like archaeologists reading the layers of stone, uncovering the balance between matter, radiation, and the mysterious dark energy that now dominates. It is humbling to realize that this invisible thread makes up most of the cosmos, unseen yet undeniable, guiding its shape and fate. Dark energy, the driver of this thread, behaves in a way unlike anything we know. Ordinary matter, like stars and planets, gathers together under gravity. Even dark matter, unseen but felt, clusters to form the scaffolding of galaxies. But dark energy is different. It does not clump, does not bind. Instead, it works everywhere at once, filling the voids of space with a gentle push. The more space there is, the more of this energy seems to exist, fueling the thread to stretch even further. This is why the expansion accelerates, why the invisible thread does not weaken but strengthens, pulling the fabric of the universe wider as time marches on. It is as if emptiness itself carries a quiet insistence, a will to expand, a whisper that never fades. Imagine holding a piece of cloth in your hands. If you pull gently at its edges, the threads between your fingers stretch, the weave opens, and the spaces grow larger. At first, the fabric resists, but as you pull more, the threads rearrange, yielding to the tension. In the cosmos, there is no resistance, only the endless pull of dark energy. The galaxies are like patterns embroidered into this cloth, moving farther apart as the fabric stretches. The stars themselves are not racing through space. Instead, the space between them is growing, the invisible thread elongating all that it touches. It is a motion we cannot stop, a weaving we cannot slow, a song that continues whether or not we are listening. This reality carries with it a quiet sadness. For all the richness of the cosmos, for all the rivers of galaxies and webs of light, the thread ensures that much of it will one day slip beyond our view. Already, galaxies at great distances are being carried away so quickly that their light will never reach us. They still shine, still burn with stars, but their messages can no longer cross the widening gulf. In this way, the thread not only connects but also separates, leaving us with a universe both abundant and fleeting. To live now is to witness the fullness of the sky, to see galaxies still present, still glowing, still sharing their light before they vanish into silence. And yet there is also beauty in this transience. Each galaxy we see is a gift, a moment of connection across billions of years and light years. Their light began before our planet was formed, before life arose, before eyes turned upward to receive it. To capture that light is to catch a memory, to hold in our hands a piece of the universe's story carried across the invisible thread. The galaxies may drift, but their voices linger, their whispers carried to us by the patient pull of expansion. In this way, the thread is not only a divider, but also a messenger, ensuring that we can glimpse the past even as the future slips away. Scientists still wrestle with the nature of this thread. Is it truly constant, a cosmological pressure that will last forever, or is it dynamic, shifting with time, perhaps to fade one day or transform into something new? Could it be that gravity itself behaves differently on the largest scales, that what we call dark energy is not a substance but a misunderstanding of the laws of space-time? These questions remain open, the thread still a mystery, its essence unseen, its purpose unclear. What we know is only its effect, the widening of distances, the acceleration of galaxies, the shaping of the universe's fate. The thread is both real and intangible, a presence we feel through the absence it creates. Now let us drift into reflection. The invisible thread of expansion is not only a scientific truth but also a metaphor for life. Just as galaxies drift apart, so too do the moments of our lives, each carried by time's current into memory. We cannot hold them still, cannot stop their drift, but we can cherish them as they pass, marvel at their beauty, and honor the connections we once held. The thread reminds us that change is not an enemy but a part of the fabric, that separation does not erase the story but extends it, carrying it into the wider embrace of time. To see galaxies drift is to see ourselves, to understand that expansion is woven into the very nature of existence. The invisible thread continues, steady and unbroken, weaving the past into the present into the future. It carries galaxies into solitude, stars into silence, and yet in its gentle pull it carries also the gift of wonder. We live in a universe where the thread is visible, where the rivers of galaxies still shimmer, where the web of light still glows. This is our moment to look, to see, to listen, to marvel at the stretching of space, the widening of horizons, the unfolding of the fabric. And as we gaze upward, we can take comfort in knowing that though the thread pulls everything apart, it also binds us to the cosmos itself, weaving us into the endless, expanding story of the stars. The invisible thread of expansion stretches forward into the deep future, and as we follow it with imagination, we enter a landscape that feels both haunting and serene. The galaxies, carried outward by this unseen force, will continue to drift until the cosmos itself becomes a quilt of isolated islands. Where once there were rivers of galaxies crossing the night, there will be only local lights, each cluster alone, each star system stranded in a widening sea of silence. This is the destiny written into the thread, not a violent end, not a sudden collapse, but a slow and endless separation, a drifting away that seems infinite in its patience. The universe does not rage toward its future. It glides, expanding softly, pulled apart by a hand that never tires. To think of this is to feel the weight of impermanence. The galaxies that shine for us now, the grand spirals and brilliant clusters, will not remain within reach. Their light may still reach us for some time, but their presence will be carried beyond the cosmic horizon, hidden forever from view. The thread ensures that each passing billion years leaves the universe more spacious, more solitary, more veiled. And yet this impermanence does not mean loss. It means transformation, the reshaping of the cosmos into something new, something different, something that still holds its own beauty. Just as rivers carve valleys and winds shape mountains, so does the invisible thread sculpt the fate of all that exists, gently, persistently, endlessly. Scientists have given this future a name, the era of isolation. In that distant time, far beyond our own, galaxies will be cut off from one another, their light unable to cross the widening gulfs. Civilizations that might arise then will look into their skies and see only the stars of their own galaxy. They may believe their island is the whole of creation, unaware that once the heavens were filled with countless companions. They will not know of the rivers of galaxies, the webs of light, the structures that spanned billions of light years. For them, the cosmos will appear smaller, more intimate, yet also more lonely. It is we living now who carry the rare privilege of seeing the universe still open, still rich, still generous with its galaxies. The invisible thread carries with it a message that is both scientific and poetic. It tells us that the universe is not static but alive, breathing out into eternity. It reminds us that beauty is fleeting, that what we see today may not be visible tomorrow, that impermanence is part of the very structure of reality. And yet in this fleetingness there is also a profound invitation to look, to marvel, to treasure the sight of galaxies while we can. Every glimpse through a telescope, every photon captured from a distant star, is a piece of the cosmos gift to us, a reminder that we live in a moment when the sky is still wide and filled with wonders. Think of a night by the ocean, the waves stretching endlessly into the dark. The water pulls away, returning again and again, each tide a cycle, each horizon unreachable. The galaxies are like those distant waves, visible but fading, present but retreating. We cannot walk out to meet them, cannot hold them close, but we can listen to their rhythm, see their shimmer, feel their presence even as they slip away. The thread that carries them is invisible, but its song is written in the starlight, in the red-shifted glow, in the gentle widening of the universe itself. Even in the farthest future, when the sky has emptied of distant galaxies, the thread will remain. Stars will still shine within each galaxy, planets will still orbit, and life, if it endures, will still look upward with wonder. The cosmos will not end with silence, but with intimacy, each island of stars a quiet world unto itself. The thread will have carried galaxies apart, but within each one the story will continue. Stars will form, constellations will glow, and perhaps eyes will still lift to the heavens, marveling at the quiet beauty of their own corner of the infinite. In this way, the thread does not erase wonder. It reshapes it, shifting its focus from the distant many to the nearby few. And as we reflect, we find that the invisible thread speaks to us not only of the universe, but also of ourselves. Our lives, too, are shaped by threads unseen, currents of time and change that carry us forward, stretching the fabric of our days. We drift from moments and people we once held near, not in violence, but in the gentle inevitability of time's pull. The galaxies remind us that separation is not the end of the story, but part of its unfolding. Light still lingers, memories still glow, connections remain in new forms, even as distance grows. The cosmos whispers to us that impermanence is not emptiness, but transformation, a weaving of stories across the fabric of space and time. So the invisible thread of expansion continues, silent yet eternal, weaving the universe into patterns both vast and fleeting. We may never know its true nature. It may remain a mystery beyond the reach of science, a presence we can describe but never fully grasp. Yet its gift is clear. It has given us a universe filled with galaxies, rivers of stars, webs of light. It has given us the chance to see, to know, to marvel before the sky grows quieter. And as we gaze upward, we are reminded that though the thread pulls everything apart, it also binds us into the story of the cosmos, a story still unfolding, still expanding, still stretching gently into forever. The horizon of the universe is not a line we can approach, not a shore we can sail toward. It is something subtler, softer, and more elusive, a fading beyond sight, a boundary drawn not by walls but by time and light itself. Every time we look into the night sky, we are looking backward in time, seeing the light of stars and galaxies that left them long ago. The farther we look, the older the light becomes, until it brushes the edge of the cosmic horizon, the place where light has had just enough time to reach us since the beginning of the universe. Beyond that horizon, there are galaxies and wonders, but their light has not yet arrived. They remain hidden, waiting in the silence beyond sight. This horizon is not fixed. It shifts as the universe expands, carried outward by the invisible hand of dark energy. As space stretches, some galaxies that are visible now will eventually drift beyond the horizon, their light stretched so thin that T can never reach us again. This is not because they vanish, but because the horizon itself recedes faster than light can bridge the gap. It is as though the shore of the cosmic sea is slipping away, faster than we can swim, carrying distant islands beyond our reach. The universe has always been vast, but in this quiet acceleration, it becomes not only vast but also veiled, hiding more of itself with each passing epoch. To imagine this, picture yourself standing in a meadow at dawn. The mist clings to the air, and as the sun rises, shapes begin to emerge. Trees appear, hills reveal their outlines, flowers glow in the first light. But even as more comes into view, the farthest shapes fade back into mist, blurred, unreachable. The cosmic horizon is like this. We see galaxies close enough for their light to pierce the fog of expansion, but those farther away are swallowed by the mist, carried beyond sight by the widening of space. The closer we look to the edge, the more fragile the light becomes, stretched into faint whispers until it is gone altogether. Astronomers call this fading the cosmic event horizon. It is the ultimate boundary of what we can know, the farthest distance from which light can ever reach us, no matter how long we wait. It is a reminder that knowledge itself has limits, that there are parts of the universe forever hidden from us. Beyond that horizon, galaxies continue to live, stars continue to shine, perhaps life continues to bloom, but their light will never join ours. They exist in a realm that is real but unreachable, a forever sealed chapter in the story of the cosmos. This knowledge humbles us, reminding us that even with the most powerful telescopes, even with all the ingenuity of science, the universe will always keep some of its secrets veiled. Yet this horizon is also a gift, for within it lies all the galaxies we can see, all the stars that light our night, all the clusters and webs we have mapped. We live in a universe that is still generous, still sharing its beauty with us, still filling our skies with countless rivers of light. To gaze upward is to read the story of the cosmos written in photons, carried across billions of years to reach us. Each galaxy within the horizon is a voice, a messenger, a reminder that the universe is alive with motion, history, and wonder. The horizon may fade, but the messages we receive are enough to fill us with awe. Dark energy, the force behind this fading, stretches the horizon farther and faster. It ensures that more and more galaxies slip beyond sight, carried away by the expansion of space. At first, the change is subtle, imperceptible within the span of human lifetimes. But across billions of years, it reshapes the very sky, erasing galaxies from view, leaving only the nearest companions visible. This is the quiet destiny of the cosmos, not collapse, not destruction, but a gradual vanishing, a soft retreat of the farthest lights. The horizon does not close abruptly, it recedes like the tide, carrying the stars into silence one by one. There is both melancholy and wonder in this. Melancholy because so much of the universe will remain hidden, forever beyond our reach. Wonder because we are here now in a moment when the horizon still reveals its treasures, when galaxies still shimmer within view, when the cosmic story is still open to us. We are witnesses in a time of abundance, when the night sky is still rich, when the universe is still generous with its light. To live now is to live in a fleeting moment, one where the horizon is wide, one where the cosmos still shares its beauty before it fades. So the horizon that fades beyond sight is not only a scientific truth, but also a poetic reminder. It tells us that knowledge has limits, that wonder is always mixed with mystery, that no matter how far we reach, there will always be more beyond our grasp. And yet it also tells us to cherish the view we have, to treasure the galaxies still visible, to marvel at the sky while it is still filled with stars. For though the horizon recedes, though galaxies drift into silence, the night remains luminous, the cosmos remains beautiful, and the story of the universe continues, written in light that still reaches our eyes. The horizon that fades beyond sight is not a single boundary, but a series of gentle layers, each one shaping how much of the universe we can see and know. The first of these is the particle horizon, the farthest distance from which light has reached us since the birth of the cosmos. It is like the edge of a circle drawn by time itself, a reminder that the universe has an age, and that light can only travel so far in that span. Beyond it, the galaxies are real but invisible, hidden because their messages have not yet arrived. The second is the event horizon, a softer and more haunting veil, marking the boundary beyond which light will never reach us, no matter how long we wait. While the particle horizon is about the past, T8, Event Horizon is about the future, about the places that are slipping away into permanent silence. Together, they shape the limits of our vision, wrapping us in a cocoon of light that is both wondrous and incomplete. Astronomers use these horizons as tools to measure and understand the cosmos. By mapping the faint radiation of the cosmic microwave background, they trace the first horizon, seeing the universe as it was when it was only a fraction of its current age. This afterglow is a kind of ancient dawn, a light that has stretched and cooled for nearly 14 billion years. It carries the imprints of sound waves that once rippled through the hot plasma of the young universe, frozen into patterns we can still see today. These patterns tell us about the balance of matter, radiation, and dark energy, the proportions of the ingredients that make up the cosmic recipe. They remind us that even the farthest horizon is not empty but full of whispers, stories written in the oldest light we can receive. But the event horizon speaks of a different truth. It tells us that the future is shaped by dark energy, by the acceleration that carries galaxies outward faster than light can bridge the gap. Already there are galaxies whose light will never reach us, though they still shine in their own corners of the universe. They exist beyond our eventual knowing, beyond our cosmic future, hidden forever by the expansion of space. This realization is both sobering and awe-inspiring. It means that the universe is larger than we can ever comprehend, filled with wonders we will never see. Yet it also means that what we do see is rare, precious, a fleeting gift of time and circumstance. To imagine this, think of standing in a field at dusk. The sky glows with fading light, and in the distance, hills and trees blur into the horizon. The nearer shapes remain clear, their outlines steady, but the farther you look, the more the world dissolves into shadow. The cosmic horizon is like this fading dusk, carrying galaxies beyond clarity, softening them into invisibility. They do not vanish in an instant, but drift slowly into obscurity, their light stretched thinner and thinner until it is gone. To watch the sky is to witness this slow fading, to see the universe revealing and concealing itself at the same time. The science of horizons is exact, but the feeling it gives us is tender, almost like longing. To know that there are galaxies we will never see is to feel the edges of our own limitations, to accept that the cosmos is larger than our reach. Yet this does not diminish wonder, it deepens it. For the galaxies we do see are miracles of timing, their light crossing billions of years to arrive in this moment, to fall into our telescopes, to spark awe in our hearts. Each one is a messenger that slipped through the veil before the horizon pulled it away. Their presence is proof that we live in a rare window of cosmic history, one where horizons are still generous, where the universe is still open to our gaze. Dark energy ensures that this window will not remain forever. As expansion accelerates, the event horizon will draw closer, pulling more galaxies beyond reach. Future skies will be emptier, quieter, stripped of the distant companions that now fill our nights. But even in that solitude, the nearby stars will continue to shine, and within each galaxy, life may still look upward with wonder. Horizons do not erase beauty, they reshape it, shifting our focus from the distant to the near, from the unreachable to the present. The fading of galaxies reminds us that what is here, what is visible, what is now, is all the more precious because it will not last forever. There is a gentle lesson in this fading. Just as galaxies slip beyond horizons, so too do moments in our lives. We cannot hold them, cannot stop their drift, but we can cherish them as they pass, honor them as they slip into memory. The universe whispers this truth in its horizons, teaching us that beauty is not diminished by its impermanence, but deepened. The galaxies remind us that to see, to feel, to know, even briefly, is enough to make the fleeting luminous. Horizons are not walls to lament, but veils to treasure, reminding us of the mystery that always lies beyond sight. So the horizon that fades beyond sight continues to recede, carrying galaxies into silence, writing the future of the cosmos with invisible ink. It leaves us with a sky still full of wonder, still luminous with rivers of stars, still open enough to let us marvel. We may not see beyond the horizon, but we do not need to. The galaxies that remain are gifts enough, their light a reminder that the universe, though veiled, is generous. To gaze upward is to witness both presence and absence, both clarity and fading, both the known and the unknown. And in that balance we find peace, knowing that the story of the universe is larger than us, larger than sight, and forever expanding beyond our reach.
Other
horizons that fade beyond sight lead us gently into the contemplation of eternity. If dark energy continues to stretch space as it does now, then the distant galaxies will slip away one by one, their light stretched too thin to ever reach us again. The universe will grow quieter, not because stars cease to shine, but because their voices can no longer travel across the widening sea. Horizons will close around each island of galaxies, leaving them isolated in solitude. It is not an abrupt ending, not a collapse or catastrophe, but a soft fading, a vanishing into silence as the fabric of space carries the distant away. This is the destiny written by the accelerating expansion, the destiny of horizons that recede faster than light itself can cross. In the far future, the skies will look different. For beings who live billions of years from now, the night will hold only the stars of their own galaxy, perhaps a few neighboring companions, but little else. The Milky Way and Andromeda will long have merged into a single vast galaxy, glowing with the combined brilliance of countless suns. Beyond that, the heavens will be empty. The cosmic web, now so rich with filaments and clusters, will have dissolved into separation, each cluster alone, unseen by the others. The horizons will have carried everything else away. To such future observers, the universe will seem small, confined, limited. They may never know that once the cosmos was filled with endless galaxies, stretching in every direction, flowing like rivers of light across the darkness. And yet, even in that solitude, the stars will continue to burn. Planets will still orbit, moons will still cast their pale glow, and perhaps life will still lift its eyes to the heavens. They may see fewer galaxies, but they will still see the same constellations, the same skies lit by their local suns. For them, the horizon will not be a loss, but a boundary of mystery, a veil they cannot pierce but can still dream beyond. Horizons do not erase wonder, they redefine it. They turn our gaze inward, reminding us to cherish what is near, to honor the stars that remain, to find beauty in the presence that still glows. The science of horizons reveals limits, but it also reveals abundance. For within our horizon today lies a universe filled with billions of galaxies, each containing billions of stars. Their light is already a miracle, having crossed unimaginable distances to reach us. Every photon that falls into a telescope is a survivor, a traveler that has slipped through the veil before the horizon carried its source away. To look at the night sky now is to see the rarest of gifts, a cosmos still open, still sharing its secrets, still letting us glimpse its grandeur. We are alive in a time when horizons are still wide, when galaxies still shine in our direction, when the universe is still generous with its story. Dark energy ensures that this story is not eternal, at least not in the same form. It writes a future where horizons continue to pull away, where silence deepens, where galaxies vanish into the unseen. But this does not make the present any less meaningful. Instead, it makes it more precious. To live now is to live in a window of cosmic history when the universe is most visible, when the night is most luminous, when the horizons are still filled with treasures. This fleetingness does not diminish the beauty, it heightens it. It turns every look at the stars into an act of gratitude, every glance at a galaxy into a moment of reverence. And perhaps this is the quiet lesson of horizons, that what we see is never the whole, that what we hold will not last, but that what we glimpse, even briefly, can change us forever. Horizons remind us of humility, that we are not the center of all things, that much will always lie beyond our reach. But they also remind us of wonder, that the cosmos shares enough to fill our lives with awe, even if most of it remains veiled. The fading of horizons does not mean emptiness. It means mystery, an endless unfolding that calls us to marvel at what is revealed while accepting what is concealed. So the horizons fade and the galaxies drift and the universe expands into silence. But here now the sky is still full. The Milky Way still arcs across the night, galaxies still glow in telescopes, and the light of ancient stars still brushes our eyes. We live in a privileged moment, and to honor it is to look upward, to let the horizons remind us of both the vastness and the tenderness of existence. The future may be quieter, but tonight the cosmos sings, and its horizons, though fading, still shine with wonder enough to lull us into dreams. In their retreat, they leave us with the gift of presence, of light, of stories carried across eternity, glowing softly before they vanish beyond sight. The stillness waiting at the edge of time is not a silence we can hear, nor a darkness we can see, but a destiny written into the very fabric of the cosmos. The universe began with motion, with fire and light bursting outward in a great unfolding, but its far future may end in quiet, a slowing of voices, a dimming of lights, a calmness that stretches beyond imagination. Scientists speak of this as the fate of the universe, the long journey from a fiery birth to a tranquil end. It is not an ending in destruction, but in dispersal, not a sudden collapse, but a slow fading into stillness. At the heart of this vision lies dark energy, the mysterious force that drives expansion, pushing galaxies apart, carrying them toward a horizon where time itself seems to dissolve. To understand this stillness, we must imagine the cosmos not as it is now, vibrant and luminous, but as it will be after billions upon billions of years. The galaxies we see today will have long drifted beyond sight, carried outward by the accelerating expansion. The stars within them will continue to shine, but one by one they will exhaust their fuel, dimming into embers. Supernovae will grow rarer, black holes will quietly dominate, and the night skies of the far future will grow darker. The universe will not end with a roar, but with a whisper, its brightness fading into a soft glow of scattered remnants. The stillness at the edge of time is not emptiness but quiet, a vast ocean where the currents of light and motion finally grow faint. This destiny is shaped by the balance between gravity and dark energy. Gravity pulls inward, gathering matter into stars, galaxies, and clusters. It resists separation, holding together what it can. But dark energy pushes outward, stretching space itself, pulling galaxies apart. On the scales of stars and planets, gravity wins, binding systems together tightly enough to withstand expansion. On the scales of the universe, dark energy dominates, carrying clusters away, widening voids, scattering galaxies into solitude. Over eons, this balance ensures that the universe grows ever larger, its threads ever thinner, its voices ever softer. The stillness at the edge of time is not the failure of gravity, but the triumph of expansion, a victory of emptiness over clustering, of separation over gathering. To picture this, imagine a campfire glowing in the night. At first it burns brightly, flames leaping, sparks rising into the dark. But slowly the flames fade, the logs collapse into embers, and the fire grows dim. The warmth lingers, the glow remains, but the brilliance is gone. Eventually, only faint ashes remain, whispering the memory of what once was. The universe is like this fire. In its youth, it blazed with energy, stars forming in abundance, galaxies colliding, light filling every corner. But as time stretches onward, the fire dims. Star formation slows, galaxies settle, and the cosmos cools into quiet. Dark energy ensures that this quiet will not be broken by collapse, that the embers will drift apart forever, glowing faintly as they sink into stillness. There is both melancholy and comfort in this vision. Melancholy because it tells us that the universe we know is temporary, that its brilliance will not last, that its galaxies will one day fade from sight. Comfort because the fading is gentle, without violence, without abruptness. The universe does not end in destruction, but in peace, a slow unwinding into calm. This is the stillness at the edge of time, a destiny not of endings but of transformations, where light becomes faint, motion becomes subtle, and the cosmos settles into quietude. To think of this is to accept impermanence, to see beauty in the fleeting, to honor the glow while it remains. And yet within this stillness, life may still find its place. Stars will continue to shine for trillions of years, even as the universe grows older. Red dwarfs, the smallest of stars, can burn for unimaginable spans of time, their light steady and enduring. Around them, planets may circle, and perhaps beings may gaze upward with wonder, unaware of how rich the universe once was. For them, the sky will be smaller, quieter, emptier. But it will still hold beauty, still hold stories, still hold the quiet glow of suns. The stillness at the edge of time will not erase wonder, it will reshape it, turning the grandeur of galaxies into the intimacy of stars, the abundance of rivers into the closeness of embers. So we look to the future and see not only loss but also continuity. The universe will change, but it will not cease. Its light will fade, but it will not vanish. Its horizons will close, but they will not erase the presence of what remains. The stillness at the edge of time is part of the story, the final chapter written by dark energy's hand. It reminds us that endings need not be violent to be profound, that silence can be as powerful as sound, that stillness can be as meaningful as motion. To live now in the brightness of the cosmos is to hold both its youth and its destiny in our gaze, to cherish the light while knowing it will fade, to love the fire while exceed. Ting the embers, for in the stillness waiting at the edge of time, we find not despair but peace, not emptiness but eternity. The stillness waiting at the edge of time deepens when we follow the path of stars. Stars are the architects of light, the furnaces that turn darkness into radiance, the quiet engines that make life possible. Yet even stars are not eternal. Each one has a life, a beginning, a middle, and an end, and together their stories weave the greater fate of the cosmos. In the distant future, when galaxies have drifted beyond sight and the cosmic horizons have carried companions away, the stars that remain will continue their work, burning in silence, whispering their light into the widening void. But as time stretches onward, even they must yield, their fuel spent, their brilliance faded, leaving behind remnants that glow faintly, like embers in the ashes of a once great fire. For now, the universe is young enough that star birth continues. Clouds of gas collapse into new suns, galaxies shimmer with nurseries of light, and the night is alive with radiance. But star formation will not last forever. The supply of raw gas will be consumed, recycled through countless generations of stars until little remains to ignite. Over billions of years, the rate of star birth will slow, dwindling until only the faintest and longest-lived stars continue to shine. Red dwarfs, with their steady, quiet burning, will dominate this era, glowing for trillions of years with light too dim for our eyes, but enough to warm the planets that circle them. These stars are the keepers of endurance, their persistence carrying the cosmos through its long twilight. As the ages pass, larger stars will have long since ended in supernovae, their brilliance a memory, their remnants black holes and neutron stars scattered across galaxies. White dwarfs, the faint embers of medium stars, will cool slowly, fading into black dwarfs, stars so cold they no longer shine. The sky of the far future will be filled with these quiet remnants, glowing faintly in the dark, each one a relic of a time when the universe was bright. The cosmos will not be empty, but it will be quieter, softer, its light dimmed into whispers. The stillness waiting at the edge of time is not the absence of stars, but the soft glow of their endings scattered across the expanding sea. To imagine this, think of a great forest in autumn. At first, the trees blaze with color, brilliant and abundant. But slowly the leaves fall, drifting into silence, leaving branches bare. The forest does not vanish, it changes, its vibrance softened into stillness, its beauty reshaped into quiet hues. The universe is like this forest. Today it blazes with galaxies and stars, but in the future the blaze will fade, and what remains will be quieter, subtler, but still beautiful in its way. The stillness at the edge of time is the winter of the cosmos, a season of rest after the brilliance of its youth. Dark energy ensures that this fading will not be reversed. The expansion will continue, accelerating, scattering galaxies beyond horizons, isolating clusters and leaving stars to burn in solitude. Gravity binds stars within galaxies, but it cannot resist the larger tide. The clusters themselves will grow lonelier, their companions carried away, their skies emptied of distant light. And yet, within those galaxies, the stars will endure for longer than we can imagine. Time itself will seem endless, stretched across trillions upon trillions of years, each moment carrying the cosmos closer to its stillness. And what of black holes, those silent giants born from the collapse of massive stars? They will remain long after the stars have dimmed, quietly consuming what drifts near them, merging with one another in the slow ballet of gravity. Over unimaginable spans of time, even they may fade, evaporating through the faint whisper of Hawking radiation, dissolving into particles and light. The universe will not end abruptly, but in layers of fading, stars first, then remnants, then even the deepest wells of gravity themselves. The stillness at the edge of time will be absolute, not because there is nothing, but because everything has become faint, soft, and patient beyond comprehension. Yet even in this stillness, there is meaning. The universe will still exist, still stretch, still hold its quiet presence. The absence of brilliance does not mean the absence of wonder. For just as we find beauty in the quiet of twilight, in the hush of snow, in the stillness of a calm sea, so too can we find beauty in the vision of a cosmos at rest. The stillness at the edge of time is not a tragedy but a transformation, the final act of a story that began with fire and ends with peace. It is the natural rhythm of existence, the ebb and flow of light and silence, motion and stillness, presence and fading. And perhaps in that far future, if life still exists, it will find meaning in the stars that remain in the warmth of red dwarfs, in the whispers of cooling embers. Their skies may be quieter, their horizons emptier, but their wonder will not be gone. For the universe, even in stillness, remains vast, remains mysterious, remains a canvas for imagination and reflection. To know that the cosmos moves toward stillness is not to despair, but to marvel at the fullness of its story, to honor both its beginnings and its endings, to see beauty in both its brightness and its quiet. The stillness waiting at the edge of time is not the end of wonder, but its continuation in another form, softer, slower, yet eternal in its embrace. The stillness waiting at the edge of time is not only a tale of stars and galaxies, but also of meaning. It invites us to think not just of the cosmos, but of ourselves, to see our lives reflected in the vast rhythms of expansion and fading. Just as galaxies drift apart, so do the moments of our existence, carried by the invisible current of time. Just as stars blaze and then soften into embers, so do our days burn bright before settling into memory. The destiny of the universe is written in silence and separation, but within that destiny there is tenderness, a reminder that beauty is not lessened by its transience. The stillness at the edge of time whispers to us that endings can be gentle, that quiet is as sacred as brilliance, that the final breath of the cosmos will be one of peace. In the deep future, when the stars have burned low and the galaxies have drifted away, the universe will resemble an ocean without waves, vast and calm, its surface broken only by the faint glimmers of dying light. Black dwarfs will rest where white dwarfs once glowed, neutron stars will cool into darkness, and even black holes will slowly dissolve into faint whispers of radiation. The expansion will continue, carrying everything farther apart, thinning the fabric of space until distance becomes immeasurable. And yet the universe will remain. It will not vanish. It will not collapse. It will persist in stillness, a presence beyond motion, an existence beyond activity. The cosmos will not end. It will endure, transformed into a state where time stretches endlessly and change becomes imperceptible. To imagine this is to stand at the edge of a great lake at night. The surface is smooth, the air still, the stars reflecting faintly on the water. Nothing stirs, and yet the lake exists, vast and deep, holding silence as though it were its essence. The far future of the universe will be like this lake, a calmness that does not need motion to be real, a silence that does not mean emptiness but fullness of another kind. The stillness at the edge of time is not a void but a presence, not an absence but a transformation, the cosmos finding rest after its long journey. This vision can feel distant, abstract, almost unimaginable, for it stretches across spans of time so vast that they defy our sense of duration. Yet within it lies a lesson we can carry now. The universe teaches us that everything changes, that brightness fades, that distance grows, and that horizons close. but it also teaches us that change does not erase meaning. The light of stars long gone still touches us. The galaxies that are now beyond reach still shape the cosmos we live in. The quiet that lies ahead does not erase the brilliance that has already been. In the same way, our own moments, though fleeting, leave traces, shaping the lives that follow, glowing softly even after they fade. The stillness waiting at the edge of time reflects not only the cosmos, but also the arc of our own being. Perhaps this is why the thought of the universe's future brings not despair but serenity. To know that everything will one day quiet is to accept the natural rhythm of existence. We need not rage against the fading of stars, for their fading is as natural as their birth. We need not lament the widening of space, for expansion is as much a part of the universe as gravity. We can instead find peace in the story, gratitude for the moment we inhabit, reverence for the beauty that surrounds us now. The stillness at the edge of time is the final chapter of the universe, and like the last notes of a lullaby, it is soft, tender, and filled with rest. And in this rest, wonder will remain, for though galaxies drift beyond sight, their light still shines in our telescopes today. Though stars will cool, their brilliance still warms our skies tonight. Though the universe will one day quiet, it is alive now with songs of light and rivers of galaxies, generous with its treasures, open with its mysteries. To gaze at the stars is to embrace both now and forever, both brightness and fading, both the fire and the stillness. The cosmos gives us this moment, this rare window where the universe is vibrant, and to honor it is to look upward, to breathe deeply, to let the vastness remind us of our place in its unfolding story. So the stillness waiting at the edge of time is not an ending to fear, but a destiny to embrace. It is the promise that the universe will find peace, that motion will yield to calm, that fire will give way to quiet glow. It is the reminder that we live in a time of abundance, when the skies are still rich, when galaxies still shimmer, when horizons are still wide. And as we dream beneath the stars, we can take comfort in knowing that the cosmos, though it will fade, will never vanish. It will remain eternal in its stillness, infinite in its presence, carrying forward the story of all that has been, into the quiet forever at the edge of time.